Hi guys. Okay. So yeah, the whole rest of the day has gone by, and we've already done bath time, dinner, lunches are ready, lunches are made, and prayers, and everybody's tucked in the bed. Okay. So we didn't have any major boo boos or anything. We just wanted goldfish and snacks and kisses. Okay. Okay, that's all that was. But anyway, the kids are taken care of. So yeah, that was a huge interruption. But I'm gonna continue on because it is what it is. That's life. That's just what it is. Okay. Now, I was talking about people that prejudge. Okay, and that particular situation that I had with this guy. Anyway, this was a long time ago. I kind of forgot about it. But anyway, it was a crazy like setup kind of date thing, like going to Starbucks or whatever, and meeting up. And I didn't know what that guy looked like. He didn't send me a picture. I didn't know, and that was kind of weird, you know. But he just assumed because he saw me talking with somebody that when he sent that text, it was so nasty. His energy, his spirit that came out, I was like, ugh. I already know I'm not gonna like you. I already know we're not gonna get along. Okay. So, like, it didn't even matter that he was mistaken or whatever. I could see the energy right away, and I'm glad I didn't waste any evening or dinner or time, whatever. My time is valuable. I'd rather be by myself doing stuff that I need to do. Like, I like the stuff that I do. I do crafting, I do baskets, I do makeup, I do stuff. I read, I do my own, self-care things, whatever. I'm fine. I could be fine by myself. Believe me when I say that. I am great alone. I'm also great in a team, and I'm also great in a relationship. I'm actually very good in a relationship. And whether you may want to believe this or not, the relationships that I've had, what has been, what I have been told is that every single last one of them, except for the one that died, anyone that I've been in a relationship with misses me and wants me back. Okay, because simply put, I care. Because I care, and when I love, I really love. But I don't like I don't like being taken advantage of in any way. I also don't like feeling like I'm dealing with any type of playerish kind of energy. Somebody who's not going to have my back, somebody who's not going to be there. I hate when somebody doesn't answer the phone. I hate that with a passion. It's one thing if you don't answer the phone because you're working, and if I know the type of job that you have, and I know you really can't answer. But when I know with what you do for work and you can answer and you don't, or you don't text me back or whatever, because communication is big for me too. And I don't like not communicating. I don't like that. That's really one of the biggest pet peeves that I even have. I mean, the biggest pet peeve that I have. Because I feel like most things really can be worked out through communication. Things that you can't work out is lack of attraction. If you have a lack of physical attraction, to me and for me, in my experience, when you lose physical attraction for somebody, you're just going through some emotions. You're going through emotions. Okay? So some people look at relationships as a business partner. Some people look at relationships as a partner for life in a companionship. If you don't like that person, or you argue all the time, or you get on each other's nerves, or there's no physical attraction, the companionship part is like out the door. You'll find any reason to be away from each other. If you are looking at a marriage, like if it's an arranged marriage or whatever, as a business partner, I'm not into that. I'm not into that. And my boys are little, so I don't just need a father figure of some sort. My boys are older now, so I don't need that. And I don't want to be stuck in any type of monetary business partnership, or what does that girl say? Bling bling, whatever that girl says. That's not the life I want. I don't want somebody who is going to quote unquote make my life easier monetarily and then expect to just boss me around or tell me what to do or whatever because he pays the bills. I don't like that attitude. I don't like it. How about I show love, you show love? How about you move, I move? You know that song? You move, I move, whatever that rap song is. I don't remember. It's an old song. When I dip, you dip, I dip, we dip. Something like that. Anyway, that's to me how love is. Okay, that's to me how love should be. It's like, back and forth, just back and forth, you know. Some things I'm good at, but I do out of love. Like I make, you know, for me, I am very much a, you know, caretaker. I have been told that I'm wifey because of the fact that I do like to cook, and I do like I like to make my protein shakes for myself and for my man, you know, because I want to make sure that everybody is getting their macronutrients, you know, so that everybody can be healthy. That's one of the things that I do. I want to make sure everybody's taking their vitamins, you know. I don't know. I like to do those things, you know. I don't like to be forced to do anything, but when I love you, I'm going to do things that require my time, my energy, whatever, right? And to me, that may not be, you know, your lane, but like if my man is, you know, knows how to hang up curtains, or if he's a big shopping person and can move boxes around and stuff, like if I say, you know, can you hang up these curtains, I need them done, like, because I like to decorate. Okay, and I don't like, I don't like laziness, and I don't like procrastinators. And I know we all go through times or whatever, but like when I move into a place or whatever, like I like to decorate. I like to get things up and going or whatever. Like I need you to have like a tool belt, you know, what do you call that? Like that gun that shoots the screws into the wall, you know. Anyway, I need all that, you know. I'm just like I have vision, I know what I want, but I need help executing that kind of stuff. To me, that's the man's lane, like, you know, whatever, like stuff like, you know, just stuff like that. Anyway, I show my love like in caretaking type of ways, right? But like that guy that basically just saw me, and he saw me interacting with somebody else or whatever, he went off on me. He went in on me. Like that I must be some whore, hoe, whatever. He just went off on me. Like, I'm not wifey, I'm not this. And I was like, you are so mistaken. You are so mistaken. And, you know, he tried to hit me up a few more times, but I was like, that energy that came out, I don't ever want to see it. I don't want that. Like, I don't like that energy. I don't like that at all, you know. And I don't like, you know, liars. I don't like liars. I don't like liars. Like, I don't like liars. So for me, when I think about, you know, being in a relationship, or when I think about being in a partnership, I think about being loving. I think about expressing love, feeling love. Okay, I think about spending time together, quality time together. You know, quality. It don't have to be quantity, but quality. Like, in the evening time, to me, is time to, you know, connect. Okay, watch a movie, whatever. Okay, and to me, though, I expect loving gestures. You know, it's like, if you want loving gestures from me, then you need to also equally give them out. If you want me to call you, you need to equally be able to call me. Or if, you know, you want me to do the things that I do as a wife, you know, that I'm, you know, good at or whatever, making lunches, dinners, whatever, you know, that kind of thing. Just in general, nurturing, caretaking, all that kind of stuff that wives do, then I need to also have my cup filled up also, but in the ways that are important to me. Everybody is different. Some women do want money. Some women do want their red bottoms and their, you know, name brand stuff, and they want to go to fancy restaurants or places or whatever. That's cool. I don't mind doing those things, but I'm definitely like more about like having a garden in the back. Actually, I want a couple of chickens. The way these egg prices are soaring and going up and down, I want a couple, you know, like, I'm like a city girl that likes some country things too, you know. I mean, maybe it's because it was the way I was raised or whatever, but it's like, and just because I am bling bling, like, I do like girly things and flowers and decorating and all that kind of stuff, but that doesn't mean that I like to spend a lot of money. I actually love couponing, and I like it because it's very mentally stimulating. This is why I loved it from the very beginning. It was like a puzzle or something when I first started. Actually, it took me, honestly, when I started couponing, I had just finished getting my aesthetics license in school, and I literally breezed through that, right? Why? Because I'd already worked at makeup counters, I'd already had clients, I'd already been, you know, working on people's skin or whatever. It was easy peasy. I mean, if I wasn't working on my clients, sometimes I fell asleep. It was like that, okay? And I had just finished that actual schooling, testing and all that or whatever, and then started couponing, and I remember feeling like my brain was like mentally bending, right? Like, I was like, wow. It was kind of hard, actually. It took me a good year learning curve to get kind of good at it, because it's different at every store. It's different now also. But the thing is that I enjoyed it and I got really into it. But I like it. I actually find that, you know, even if I have the money to buy 10 boxes of cereal, I prefer to spend $1 and get 10 boxes of cereal, brand new, from, you know, because I know how to coupon or whatever. And I find that to be like, I don't know, like super mentally challenging, and also like I just won a prize or something, or like I just did something that nobody else did. Like everybody else is getting robbed, or, you know, getting ripped off, spending this high prices, and I'm over here like getting more than them and spending way less. Like, I don't know, I just feel smart. I don't know. And I did give a lot of stuff. I gave a lot of stuff away. I sold my stuff very, very, very cheap, I think, because I just like being helpful. And I still have tons of coupon items that I've gotten, and it's a skill that I've learned, and I like it. Like, to me, I love it. Like, my pastime is going into CVS, and I can spend 2 or 3 hours, like, literally just doing one coupon run on, you know, one of my cards, you know, and just doing the deals or whatever. I just love it. Like, I love it, right? Okay, anyway, I got off track. Anyway, the point is that people prejudge, right? And I think the men that I have dated, you know, or spent time with or dated, which really isn't that many, but I've had some long-term relationships and some men that I just dated, you know, or whatever, and I can tell that they are very unhealed versions, and they're showing up scared to love, basically, very scared to love. And it's because they're prejudging and taking their past into the new relationship. And what a lot of men are not realizing, when you tell them they need to heal, they don't know what that means. They don't really get it. Men just know how to go out and go to work, make money, and, you know, pretend that everything is okay or whatever. Some men, like this guy that I was talking about, that I've been posting, some men get in touch and they understand. Like, they get it, and they get it, and they're teaching it. And I think they're teaching it in a way, I think he's teaching it in a way that other men can understand. Because the more men that are healed and showing up to relationships healed, I think the better. I mean, me personally, I am, you know, I'm kind of on this quest right now. You know, I've been starting to post like almost 11 years ago, but because of different relationships and stuff that I had, they didn't want me to post or whatever. Anyway, I've been wanting to get words out for my boys, but, you know, past that, I just feel like if any of my past relationships who, you know, like to, you know, stalk or, you know, see what I'm doing and constantly check up on me, whatever, I don't care what it takes. If it takes looking at a pretty face or somebody who actually will make you, like, you know, think twice about your actions in a relationship and understand healing. And, you know, I mean, I know I got everybody. I know I got everybody, past relationships, you know, who are still stalking or whatever, and their baby mamas and crazy family members or whatever, that everybody who prejudged me and thought that I was a different type of person because of the way that I looked. But actually, I'm an extremely mature, level-headed, balanced woman. I don't smoke. I don't drink. Well, I might have a drink socially every once in a while, but I don't get drunk. I don't even like the feeling of getting drunk. I'm very in touch with my emotions. I'm very in touch with my spirituality. I'm very in touch with my God. Yeah, I'm a mother, and I happen to still be halfway decent looking, okay? Like, I didn't, in fact, one guy I was dating was 5 years younger than me, and I guess his family or people thought something about that, I don't know, but everywhere we went, people thought he was older than me. Why? Because he smoked and drank too much, and he had wrinkles, okay? And I was constantly telling him, you're gonna need to hydrate, okay? I mean, you know, like, we're given one body, we should try to treat it as good as we can. You know, nobody's perfect. Nobody's out here trying to be perfect. I could care less. I'm not perfect, whatever, but I definitely know what my lane is. I know, like, what I'm good at, right? Everybody is given a gift. Stay in your lane, I stay in my lane, right? Okay, so here I am, like, I'm just like, you know what? All of them, like a bowling ball, I could throw a bowling ball down all these couple of men that I've dated or been in relationships with and knock them all down because none of them have healed. And I outloved all of them. To the point that I decided to not put up with that, or not allow myself to continue to glow down, you know, losing my hair or having strokes or having ulcers or everything. That's literally how much I love. I love too much. And I was an overgiver. I'm no longer an overgiver. I'm done with overgiving. Overgiving in my life or whatever, this woman is done with overgiving. It's only you move, I move. You make a move, I make a move. That's it. That's as far as it goes. But I'm a loving person, right? And I have no problem showing love. And I am still open-hearted. And I don't take as long to heal because I have been given tools as a young child, and I have practiced and put these in practice from my way back with my first husband when we went through the first time when we went through the fire, the first awakening, if you want to say, that I had with him, when I had my come to Jesus moment, and God made me look in the mirror, and I had to be faced with the things that I was doing. Projection was one of them. That's one of the tools that this guy talks about, that narcissists do. I definitely was guilty of that in my first marriage, way back then, that first go round. Oh my God. And God was the one that sat my butt down, made me look in the mirror, and gave me a butt whooping, spiritual butt whooping. And you know what? I didn't forget my lesson. I never forgot my lesson from then. I still don't. I still think about that. To this day, I think about everything what God brought to my attention. And I had vowed that I would change. And that is actually the reason why my husband at that time was doing things. His behavior was wrong. He was a King David on steroids. Okay, he did the most. At that time, he knew what he was doing. I love him. This is my late husband who passed. But he knew he was doing the most. And he knew he was doing wrong. But it was his behavior. But God sat me down and said, okay, his behavior is not good. But I need you to look at yourself. I need you to look at your attitude. And I need you to, fix yourself first before you worry about him and his actions. And he literally spanked my butt. And I was humble enough to listen. And I did. I remember we went through a 4-year period where he was going through things because he had lost his father, and he was kind of slowly going downhill with his actions that he was doing at the barbershop. He was doing some things that he knew he shouldn't have been doing. But there was a good 9-month period there where him and I we were it was very touch and go, because he was suffering with some things that he needed to detox from, and different things, and I helped him with that. But God had to work on me first, and my attitude, and my reaction, learning not to overreact, because I am an overreactor. Absolutely, I'm an overreactor, and I still work on that. No, not overreacting when somebody, one of the things I learned is that men fear women's reactions when they really love you. Men fear that cringe face, and I'm so expressive. And I learned this, I read this in a book, because during that time, that 9 months, I think I read about 4 books, marriage books, on top of doing my own research spiritually in the Bible, really digging deep, talking with God, walking with God, right? And he gave me so many downloads and so many things I needed to work on. But that was one of them, that men, when you're in conflict with your man, specifically, try to keep your facial expressions under control and your reaction under control, so that you can respond. And that so basically what I learned was that when I started feeling my blood boil for something he pissed me off, or something he made me mad about, or whatever, that's your cue to say, I need a moment. I don't want to disrespect you right now. So give me a moment, okay? And we're going to get back to this. And I always did come back or whatever, but the point is that, before having that spiritual whipping from Jehovah, I used to fly off all the way. I mean, I used to just go off. I used to just be like, and I would, I've had several men say this to me, like, they would say to me, your face says everything. I do have a hard time hiding things, and with my face, because I am expressive. I can do it. Okay, I can. But I will say this, that the easier I'm able to do that is the less emotion that I have towards that person. So when I have emotion or love or any kind of, emotional connection or tie to this person, it could be family or whatever, I am going to have facial expressions, it's harder for me to hide that. But that was one thing that I learned, and at least I learned, a couple of techniques and tools during that time, and I fixed myself. I fixed basically my respect, how I showed respect. It wasn't so much that I didn't respect my husband. I didn't respect his actions that he was doing, but I understood there was a difference. I understood how to verbalize to my husband, my late husband at the time, that I didn't respect his actions, but I respected him as a man, and that I still loved him as a man, and that I still supported his desire to build up our family in a good and positive way. and that I still loved him and supported him even during his, even with his setbacks and his mistakes that he had made and different traps that he fell into, that I still loved who he was really, truly as a person, despite the actions that I did not support and that I couldn't respect, and he knew why. And when I was able to start to actually verbalize that to him, right, it made a huge difference in our relationship. And I found that I was able to still show love, or at least where he could hear love, okay, because his love language was touch and words of affirmation. So I was able to work on my words and show love to him, even though during that 9 months, I promise you, first of all, I tried to leave the man 3 times. God said no. God would not let me. And also, during that time, I really just did not actually trust him taking the lead. I didn't verbalize that to him. I did to my dad, but not to him. And I did to God. But I figured I learned the art of pretending, basically, so as to not chop his legs down and to not usurp him, and to try to build him up. I questioned a lot during that time, but God kept leading me until he came. He did a complete 180, he made a complete turnaround. And before he passed, that year before he passed, he really, really had a strong comeback. And I'll never forget that. But it was mainly because of me doing this self-work, me taking time to do some of this shadow work that I learned from my mother, who was doing that all growing up in my teenage years. She was very vocal and open about that and shared a lot of stuff with me. And I'm glad that, she did it. I did it back then, but I continue. It's like once you learn how to do these techniques and you do these types of things, you really don't go back because you see the benefits. You learn how to heal faster, how to forgive quicker, how to move on. And that is not a bad thing. Hello, we are only given so much time on this earth. I'm not trying to stay in the past with somebody who is not good for me, not right for me, who is not doing what they need to be doing, who is not showing up, who is evil or has evil intentions towards me, or who is going to make me feel some type of way, or give me ulcers, or yell at me, or call me names, or project crazy things onto me, project negativity, or doesn't support what I do for a living, or the things that I like to do. I'm not going to deal with all that. I'm not wasting time with anybody like that. I'm not. So, I always go into the relationship and I love, all the way through. I mean, even when I divorced my second husband, we got divorced. And he would say this, I literally still made him a lot. When we were packing up and already separated everything, when I was in the house, I still warmed up, I had some meals and I still cooked them up and still fed him and still served him his meal. When he came home, because he was still in the house and we were separated and everything, but I was still coming back, packing and everything, and I still did that for him and did a few other things, basically, because to me, it's just being a good person. It's just being loving, a good person. I would feed a stranger if they needed food. You understand what I'm saying? Like, that's just Bible principle. But I realize that not everybody goes by that. A lot of people don't. A lot of women don't. I'm sorry that those women don't, or whatever. But all I can say is that everybody runs into people who treat them unfairly. I feel like I've been treated unfairly in several situations. Believe me. Okay? Just like other men that I know say the same thing. But guess what? I know I choose to not go into the next relationship throwing that burden onto them and saying, I know you're about to do this, you're about to do that. I'm not going to do that. No, that's wrong. I know that's wrong. That's just a sign that I am unhealed, that I can't trust. I'm going to trust somebody until they show me a reason not to, or they act and behave in ways that are questionable. Not answering phone calls, or not, like if we're together, not coming home, or missing in action, or not paying bills, backing out on paying bills if we're married or whatever, kicking you off of health insurance all of a sudden or whatever before we're, while we're still married or whatever, just different things that you can kind of tell when somebody is like, acting strange. If you start noticing those types of things, whether you're dating okay? And your phone conversation is getting interrupted constantly because they got to keep answering the phone because maybe they have a baby mama that they still think the baby mama still thinks they're still together or something like that, or he's telling me that they're whatever. When you start seeing those type of signs, it's time to back up. Like, nah, you're answering your phone too many times. You can't put your phone down, or you can't show up or whatever, or we're not spending any real time together, or I don't know. I'm just coming up with different things that you can notice, for sure when things are not right or whatever. But I know for me, I always show up being loving. I show up loving and honest. I'm very honest. And I'm so honest. I'm the kind of woman, I haven't been on the dating scene forever, but I just think it's only fair to say, up front, I don't offer sex. No, I'm sorry, you're not getting that. No, I don't give that out. Like, that's just not the way it works for me. And also, it's like, we're dating, and I'm sure you're dating other women, and I'm sure you got your little situation or whatever. I'm just letting you know, I'm dating too. Like, I'm going to date other people too. I'm going to see other people. I'm going to go out and have a good time too. Unless you and there's a real connection that starts to build where we start taking up all of each other's time because we grow, there's a growing in affection, in trust and love, and you start like missing the person when they don't call you or talk to you. That just happens. Like when you have a connection, or you have maybe it's because I have been in relationships with a soulmate, and maybe this is why I just know this, but like, when you have real connection with somebody, you can tell there's some sort of like chemistry there, right? I feel like I can tell right away, there's some sort of chemistry there. There's an ease in conversation, and there's a bit of, where you kind of like to be around each other. Like, there's like a feeling of like, I like you. Like, I kind of don't mind you just hanging out or being here or being around there. To me, the mark of a good relationship does not need fancy cars, fancy restaurants, fancy houses, going here, going there, flying here. Those things are great and fun. If you can do them, fine, especially with somebody you like. But to me, what it needs is that, or what it looks like to me, is two people who can be happy around each other with just each other's energy. It's like, I have definitely known 3 people in my life, 3, that I have known, that I've been in some sort of relationship with, that I have genuinely felt like I could sit in a car, watch planes, watch the stars, look at the clouds, or be in a 4-wall space, I guess, like 4 walls or whatever, and just be happy playing cards, just being around each other, just doing nothing, but actually enjoying that other person. Like, either I like looking at that other person's face and they like looking at mine. I like hearing that other person's voice, or they like hearing mine. We can literally play hand games or just take a nap and just be fine. Actually, it's like your soul is at ease when they are nearby or when they are close. And the whole day can go by and you don't feel like you have to go get out and go do something, or go to a fancy restaurant or something. Those are fun things to do, but that's not what I'm looking for. I'm not looking for sprinkle. That's not me. That's not me. I'm still bling bling. I'm still cute, and I still do my thing or whatever. I still show up, okay? I still know how to, go out, and I know how to look good or whatever. But I can go to, let me tell you something. I can go to Dollar Tree. I can go to any old little dollar store, whatever, and still come out looking cute. In fact, some of my compliments that I always get on certain shirts, because I be finding them up at the Dollar General, because they'll have like Marilyn Monroe. They'll have my cute little Betty Boop, whatever. And people be like, oh, I love your whatever. I got my little $14 red boots that my rain boots. Every time I wear my red boots out and it rains, it's raining and I wear them, people were like, oh my God, I love your boots. $14.99 on Amazon. Thank you very much. Because you know why? It's called class. It's called class. When you have class, I don't need money. It's just like I don't need fancy makeup to make somebody look good. I didn't learn that way. I learned shading. I learned contouring. I learned balance. That's how I learned how to do makeup. I don't need that. it's great if I can use my Ben Nye, if I can use my expensive stuff or whatever, that's great. But I don't need that. I can do it with Dollar Tree because it's paint, it's art, it's real art. Okay. Now, how long the makeup will last, that's different. That has to do with quality and different ways of setting it, right? But anyway, the point is that I don't need expensive anything or name brand anything to come and show out and whatever, okay? Because it's an attitude, it's an air, it's your energy, it's who you are, what you have to offer each other, like conversation, like brains, okay? I'm just keeping it real. And I mean, I know that I'm a talker, so I know that I do tend to attract more quiet men, but some expression of love, some openness. You don't have to be a talking person to express your love or to show loving gestures, to call, to check up on you. I mean, I remember my husband sometimes would come in the room if I was already in bed or laying down or something like that. Many times he came and put the blankets, like tucked me in. Do you know that how sweet that was? I remember I could feel and sense his love. He would do that, especially during the time when we first had kids. And I was home and he was working through the night. He was working 3 jobs just so I could stay home and nurse the baby and everything. And I remember him doing sweet things like that. Like, come on, that doesn't cost anything. And he didn't say anything, but I could feel his love and his warmth towards me. Gestures, kisses on the forehead, just real love and warmth, hugs, just, I don't think, to me, this is not, brain surgery over here. But if you can't be open, if you can't be loving, right, you're never going to be able to keep any real woman unless she only wants you for your money. If you can keep a woman for your money, or, with your money, if you can keep her because of your money, because of the house, because of the car, if you can keep her, I want to say keep her, I mean, maybe physically keep her in the house, but she might still be cheating on you when you're gone, okay? But the fact is, if you think you're keeping somebody and it's just by paying bills, or just showing up financially or whatever, either A, you have a very, 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 shallow kind of a person or whatever, or she's worldly and flashy. That's fine, okay? But, can you keep her heart? Can you take care of her heart? I mean, every woman would love to say, oh, you would love to find a man that is attractive, that you're attracted to, and he has money and all that. That's great, but that's not reality. I mean that's just not reality. You may or you may find that. Who knows? But what I'm trying to say is that, think about it. If you are a lazy lover and you're not showing any real emotions, or you're not really connecting because you haven't healed, because you haven't done the techniques, the things that you need to do, because you haven't even actually gone back to, I don't want to say everybody needs counseling, but there are some people who definitely need some counseling, maybe even psychotherapy, or a straight up exorcist. You might have a demon on you or something, I don't know. But anyway, the point is, outside of that, most people at least need to take time to do some sort of self-shadow work, okay? To not carry baggage into your next relationship, because part of that baggage is not being able to say, I love you. I mean, I still have messages on my phone from some past relationships. Well, not this phone. It's one of my old phones that I have laying around here, but they never got deleted. But it was, I love you, you saying I love you, I care about you, or whatever. I still have, actually I have a lot of, like, my father's messages, people who have passed and stuff. Like, I keep all that kind of stuff because it's loving expressions and it means a lot to me, and that means more to me than having real, true, genuine love means more to me than having fancy car, fancy house, or spending a lot of money or whatever, wasting money. Honestly, it's a waste of money when you could be helping so many. How many people could we be helping? Widows and people who are less fortunate. I don't know. That's just the way I think. Although I do like a nice ring. I do feel like, because I am very much worth my weight in salt, as the Bible says, I am very much wifey, and I know what I do, I know what I'm. Yeah, I do like to have a nice ring, but there's ways for that. But anyway, I'd rather have, I even told my first husband, I remember saying, like, I will take one plain thick band, a nice classy thick band, right, until we could save up and get my 3 carat whatever carat. Diamond. Okay, but that's just my class. Okay, that's just my preference or whatever. But anyway, I got sidetracked. The point is that I feel like, hey, if you want to stalk me, if you want to keep watching to see what I'm doing because, you fumbled me, you really like, let the love of your life go or whatever, you should learn something from that. And if you're not going to take time on your own to either go get counseling or go get some help or do shadow work, then I'm going to literally spoon feed you shadow work from watching me and watching a pretty face, if that's what it takes to get you to do your shadow work. Whatever works. I don't care. Because keep stalking. Keep doing that. You know why? Because it's getting the views up, and I know you're going to learn something, because I'm not going to talk about nothing. I'm going to talk about something that's going to make you think about maybe one of your past actions, and I'm going to spoon feed you literally. And if it's a little bit at a time, and if you change just a little bit, or you grow your brain just a little bit from being nosy and looking to see what I'm up to or what I'm doing or whatever, so be it. Okay? Bye.